All right. Hey, everybody. I'm John Miller, and this is Locked On Mizzou, and we are live here on multiple platforms. I don't know if anybody's even watching right now, but by golly, we're going to give this thing a shot because what the heck? We're about 6 minutes away, in fact, from Missouri having its football schedule finally revealed. And at this moment, well, what do we know? We know that Missouri is going to play the Alabama Crimson Tide in week one. That's all we really know at this moment. Is this microphone working? Is everything working? Do you see me right now? Is anybody out there? Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? Yes, as I go into my Pink Floyd routine, as apparently I'm talking to no one. That's what's fun. But seriously though, are you among those Mizzou fans who are angry that we have to play the Alabama Crimson Tide in week one? Because I got to say, I'm not that person. In fact, if there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that week one is kind of strange. So if you're going to play Alabama, why not make it week one? And yeah, Mac Jones, their new quarterback, has some experience to be sure. He came in when Tua Tagovailoa got injured last season. But still, you're talking very little practice time, very little time to prepare for a completely new offense, a new coach with Missouri. You never know. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Certainly this entire year has been very strange so far. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Alabama is going to be a 31-point favorite going into week one. So let's not expect any type of victory here. But I'm just saying, week one, stranger things have happened. If there's going to be a massive upset, maybe it's a lot more likely in week one than it would be in week 12. Now, that may seem a bit weird since obviously Missouri has its own issues with continuity, especially offensively. But defensively, really, they should be fine. They've got some new guys to break in for sure, especially at the corner position. But I'm starting to feel optimistic about that defense in particular. So we'll see what happens. I'm checking down at my phone right now. I've got the SEC network going as we speak, just keeping tabs on. I'll just say already, I'm enjoying hearing people from the extreme south of Louisiana calling into the Paul Feinbaum show. I mean, that's always enjoyable if you ask me. Those accents are just phenomenal. So shout out to all you good people in LSU. And well, obviously Missouri knows that they're playing down in Baton Rouge this year, but unfortunately, well, none of us are going to get to go, are we? As I slow down a little bit to avoid that word salad. Yes, we're live here, folks. We are clearly broadcasting without a net. I'm doing all kinds of trapeze acts here. Be impressed. Your monkey is dancing for you as we speak. Still 2 minutes away as I take a pregnant pause. So that's the beauty of these live shows as well. We can slap them all together in post and edit them later. It'll all be seamless tomorrow. If you're not watching live right now, you'll never even know. You will never even know. Hey, if any of you are actually out there listening to this, feel free to hit me up with any kind of questions, comments, what have you. But I'm sure there'll be a lot more comments as this schedule is unveiled here in the next couple minutes. And you know what? I'm going to take this moment to shut my bedroom door. Excuse me for a second. Also not my bedroom, totally my office. Though, hard to tell with all this nonsense in the background here. I've got a random box, empty bottle of water, poor paint job. Don't worry, we're going to get this baby in tip-top shape soon enough. Only been in here about a month and a half, so give me a break, will you? Give me a break. Is there any way you can throw pause on this thing until we get to some actual action here? Come on. Help a brother out. By the way, what did you all think about the parents of these players are now speaking out on their son's behalf, saying they're in on the "we want to play" thing too, especially the parents at Ohio State. Are they emasculating their sons a little bit? I don't know. It seemed like Gabe kind of thought so this morning. Gabe DeArmond over at Power Mizzou. I don't know. I guess another thing Gabe said, he was saying, boy, it would have been nice if we could have heard some of this a few months ago. Well, to be honest, I don't know that a lot of us would have assumed that this was still happening in August. And we probably thought, oh, why do I want to get out in front of something? Maybe embarrass my kid a little bit, maybe accused of being too political, that type of thing. So I can see why there's really a lot of downsides in terms of coming out against your university or against the state, whatever it might be, or just against conventional wisdom. My goodness, going against the Twitterati, the Twitter mob can be a little bit scary sometimes. So frankly, I understand maybe the hesitation to just immediately go out and with guns ablazing 3-4 months ago as far as trying to save the season for their kids. I really understand that, but looks like we're about to get this SEC Now show going, so let's track it a little bit, shall we? Yes, that's right. If you don't have the SEC Network, I'm here for you, folks. How long are they going to milk this? That's my question. This better not be the old CBS trick where they go, hey, let's take the first half hour and just talk to various administrators. Hey, Roman Harper, you had a heck of a career. I'm not sure I need to hear you for the next 30 minutes, though. So let's get to the schedule, shall we? That's just my opinion. Oh, the banter between Roman Harper and his people on the SEC Network. It's legendary. This is what I'm paying for right here, people. To Alabama people, this is going to be rough. It's funny to hear them talking about Kentucky trying to solve their quarterback woes without Lynn Bowden, the guy who was a wide receiver. He was a converted wide receiver, their third string quarterback, essentially. Like they say, 8 wins, Mark Stoops, you got to say, that's a heck of an accomplishment. He's a heck of a coach. But here we go, week 2, Missouri at Tennessee. That's our second game. All right, we'll let them talk about the rest. Missouri at Tennessee. Obviously, that's a really huge game for the Tigers. We're obviously going to be 0-1. Let's be honest. That's the most likely outcome. But we'll have a chance to win in Knoxville. We've had their number lately. Obviously, not last season. Lost, I believe, 24-20, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think Mizzou's got a shot there. That's definitely one of the four, what I called before, the toss-up games. So I'm glad, frankly, that we got one of those games in week 2. I didn't want to be just looking at a surefire 0-2. So here, now they're revealing week 3, October 10th, Missouri at LSU. Holy cow. Now that's about as tough of a start as you're going to get. In Knoxville, Tennessee, that's your easy game for your first 3 weeks. What a brutal schedule for the Tigers. But let's hear what those guys are hearing, or saying, I should say, over on SEC real quick. By the way, credit to the SEC network for getting this thing out quickly. I know I was joking there just a minute ago, but good for them. They're giving us the hot content right off the top here. I'm loving it. But Missouri at LSU, it'll be interesting. Now week 4, October 17th, Vanderbilt at Missouri. Hey, a game we'll hopefully actually be favored in. Now, will we win for sure? Well, I think we learned last year that there's no such thing as an automatic Missouri SEC victory, or even one out of conference in Wyoming for that matter. So there you go. But hopefully, maybe Missouri's starting off 2-2, best case scenario right now. That's what we're looking at. So yeah, tough sledding for Eli, but honestly, I'm not one of those people who's complaining that much about it. Anyway, they're talking about Georgia and Alabama playing here in week 4. Let's track that a little bit. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, Greg Roman, you're the worst. Week 5, here we go. Missouri at Florida. I guess it should get a little easier in November, in theory. Only 5 games in this particular week, so we're starting to get into bye weeks here already in week 5. Man, I remember being at the tailgate last year for homecoming, Ole Miss. I was so excited when South Carolina beat Georgia. Thought we had a chance in the East, but no. Now, week 6 here, they're revealing Halloween night, Kentucky at Missouri. Boy, now there's a team we've had trouble with. But I'd say another one of those toss-up games, but gosh, if you're Kentucky, you're probably insulted by that. You're going, how many times in a row do we have to beat you before you're chalking up as a probable loss? Well, I guess more than you have so far. I don't know. Just something about Kentucky, but certainly I have mad props and respect for Mark Stoops. So anyway, let's track SEC again. Yeah, I mean, this really is an NFL-like schedule, isn't it? Every single week, you got an opponent that can beat you. I mean, unless you're the absolute total blue bloods. I guess if you're Alabama and LSU, you can chalk up Vanderbilt. But if you're Missouri, you can't chalk up Vanderbilt. You can't even chalk up Arkansas as a sure victory right now. Now, those are your two probable victories for sure. But sure victories? No, I don't think we can do that yet. Honestly, a lot of this comes down to faith. Do you have faith in what Eli Drinkwitz can do offensively in 1 year? Just 1 year. And by 1 year, I shouldn't even say 1 year. 1 year will be next year, maybe next spring, whatever it is. I mean, he's had what? A couple practices? He basically said today that I cut some sound bites. Maybe I'll play them later on the recorded show. But Eli was talking about how he's only seen these guys for the first time, the quarterbacks today, in 7-on-7 for the first time since March. I mean, this has been such a bizarre period. I mean, I don't need to recap that for the millionth time. We've all heard it. But the thing is, man, no matter how good Eli is going to be, it's probably going to take some time. And I think he was also preaching patience a little bit too. And he was basically saying, listen, we're going to do this the right way. We're not going to take shortcuts. We're not going to, what am I trying to say? We're not going to throw away the future in order to get one win in 2020. I think he realizes that 2020 is really about just laying the foundation for the future. He really did. He said the phrase "laying the foundation." He's kind of already, to me, he's setting expectations today for people. He's saying, "Listen, it's going to be a rebuilding year. We're going to take some lumps, and this is an absolutely brutal schedule. I mean, if Missouri wins 4 games this year, you're probably pretty happy. So let's just keep all that in mind for sure." As we wait for the SEC network to come back here on commercial. One thing to note, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, they've had, I believe, 1 day of classes and they've already shut it down. They're already moving to remote learning after clusters of 5 or more coronavirus cases spread in 3 residence halls and within a fraternity, again, just 1 week after classes began. Not 1 day, but 1 week. So not a great sign there, especially if you're an SEC fan, because, well, let's face it, we would like to see the ACC continue. I think that would help everyone, and not only just in terms of attitude, and hey, maybe we'll have somebody to, by we, I mean, whoever wins the SEC might have somebody to play in terms of a postseason. But especially, let's be honest, so much of this is the old CYA, the old cover your butt, let's say, since I'm live on the air right now. We'll just edit myself. But so much of this is about lawyers and regulations and laws and just, frankly, mitigating the risk of litigation. That's what so much of this period is about. So I think, especially when you consider, people go so crazy if you say that, well, kids 18 to 22, which is what college students are, that's what college football players are. Well, if you have no type of pre-existing condition like cancer or something, you're basically at 0 risk of mortality. Now, even though that's clearly true by all accounts, I mean, I'm talking CDC data, all that stuff. So I don't know. My point is maybe not a great sign, the whole North Carolina thing. I'm praying that we play football this year. We could be holding on by our chinny chin chin, but it looks like SEC now is about to come back, so let's track it. This is Wright Thompson, right? I've been trying to think of that for the last 2 minutes. I already said that was Ryan McGee. Really? Pretty sure that was Wright Thompson, but call me crazy. We're going to week 7 now. That's what's important. And Missouri is idle, only 4 games this week. So let's hear what they're saying. Okay, so Alabama at LSU is this week, but most importantly for us, Georgia at Missouri. You know what? Missouri's going to upset Georgia. Not the worst spot in the world. Missouri coming off a bye week. Obviously, you just heard Georgia will be coming off the game in Jacksonville against Florida, the world's largest cocktail party, as it were. And, a great spot. Certainly a spot for a letdown game if you're Georgia. Unfortunately, Georgia seems to play well against Missouri for the most part, but we'll see. We'll certainly see. Like I said, if there's a spot for an upset, that's it. So again, despite Missouri's really, really tough schedule, I think they've got actually Alabama and Georgia in a decent spot. Oh, what a genius. Great minds. So it's Missouri and South Carolina. And once again, one of the 4, what I would call toss-up games. Frankly, it's that game every year. It seems like Kentucky, South Carolina, maybe with the exception of 2013, but that's sort of that should be the measuring stick for Missouri. I mean, realistically, are we ever going to measure ourselves against Georgia and Florida? Probably not, at least not on a consistent basis. Gosh, we can dream, can't we? Maybe Eli is that good. It can happen. But honestly, what we really want to do is be consistently better than South Carolina and Kentucky and even Tennessee, despite the fact that they frankly have a lot more resources than we do. But to me, obviously, anytime Missouri and South Carolina meet up, it's kind of a huge game for both schools as far as which way their seasons are going to flip. But, the deeper we get into this season, I might think Missouri might be getting better offensively. So anyway, moving on to week 10 as we move along quickly in this show. Now, Arkansas at Missouri, November 28th. Originally, this game was going to be in Arrowhead Stadium. Well, now it's going to be in Columbia. Obviously, a late season game for Missouri, as it normally is. But, well, now I'm trying to figure out who is that one team that is left on Missouri's schedule. I have not been doing the process of elimination. So Auburn and Alabama is this week. So is LSU at Texas A&M, which they were saying is normally on Thanksgiving, not this year apparently. That is an interesting egg bowl. I have to admit, good call. So it's Missouri at Mississippi State. There it is. There's the team I forgot. Finally making a trip. Missouri's first trip ever, at least in the SEC. I think maybe ever, but certainly as a member of the SEC, their first trip to Starkville, taking on, again, the Pirate, Mr. Mike Leach. And frankly, I'm just happy as a fan of college football to have Mike in the conference, not only for his always entertaining and occasionally quite interesting sound bites and rants, but also, well, the master of the college air raid offense. Definitely interesting to see that coming to the SEC, that's for sure. Let's track it, see what these guys are saying as we close it out here. All right, I guess that'll about do it for this edition. The very first edition, in fact, of Locked On Mizzou Live. Again, my analysis is obviously this is a brutal schedule, but frankly, the way it fell, there's a couple opportunities for some upsets here. Now, I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying if there's going to be a massive upset, if you're going to see Missouri beat Georgia or beat Alabama, well, you couldn't have asked for a much better opportunity, a much better setup for it. Now, having said that, am I predicting it? No, I'm not, especially in week one. It's just hard to imagine that we're going to get that, right? Well, Mr. Gillespie Jr. is asking if we're supposed to be hearing audio. Yes, you are supposed to be hearing audio. I'll just type that in. Oh, man. See, this is why we're experimenting, doing this thing here before we actually get live on the season. Didn't give you guys a lot of leeway here. So, well, there's a reason for that. It's because I wasn't totally sure if this was going to work out or not. But you know what? We tried. If you can't hear me, I apologize, but I really thought that I had the audio going right. I thought I had it patched through the computer, but you know what? Live and learn. So, I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, I'm John Miller, and this has been Locked On Mizzou Live.